I am sure that this little machine, jigsaw like a bandsaw larger, with devices I have adapted them both, they are similar to a sawmill that instead of the straight pieces, it makes them curves. In order to achieve this objective, the devices follow the circle elements, which are a movable or adjustable center, which allows the radius to be larger or shorter according the distance from it to the saw. The circumference will be made when a piece of wood conducted by a specific device guided by the center is cut by the saw when the machine is working. The slim saw used by the scroll saw is 12 centimeters total length. The back and forth motion produced by the machine makes only usable 2 centimeters of it, because these 2 centimeters are the total back and forth motion. The slimness of the saw makes possible the emergence of a small oscillation left to right and vice versa, which is detrimental for the circumferential cut. This oscillation makes the saw to approach to the center, shortening the radius. The result is an imperfect circumferential cut. This small machine lacks a device to avoid this oscillation, like the one the bigger bandsaws have. That made me to think how to avoid this oscillation. So I thought to set up a second table, the same second table I am using to carry out my work. I separated this second table from the original 1 inch, and in the original one I installed a correcting device. The result was successful. Let me point out that the correcting device made by myself to be used by this small machine in order to correct this defect or abnormality is similar to the ones the bigger bandsaws have. The difference between them is that the one I made is fixed to the table of the scroll saw, while the ones the bigger bandsaws have is adjustable. The works I am going to make henceforth will be made using the correcting device. As a working demonstration in a workshop, I am going to make 3 figures, which are: first, a 3 centimeters radius circle; second, a round arch 8 centimeters radius; and third, a diminished arch 10 centimeters wide, which is shaped by 2 radiuses, one larger 8 centimeters and one shorter 3 centimeters. The circle is suitable to be made taking into account the 360 degrees of any circle, So it will be shaped by 6 curved pieces of 60 degrees each one, determined by the conveyor. Before camera I will make 2 of those pieces. The other ones will be made out of camera. The radius of this circle is 3 centimeters, as I told before. The round arch of any diameter has 180 degrees. I am going to make a central piece of 60 degrees, 2 lateral pieces of 40 degrees at both sides of the central one, and in order to complete the arch, 2 pieces with 20 degrees curved and a straight part of 3 centimeters length. The degrees named add together 180 degrees that complete the round arch, which radius is 8 centimeters. these two pieces are of 60 degrees each one. I am going to do or to make pieces, curved pieces of 40 degrees in 8 centimeters radius. I am going to make the final pieces, curved pieces of the arch, round the arch of 8 centimeters radius. This will be a curved piece in 20 degrees from here to this line, which is a radial line, and here we have to stop the curved cut. Once these curved cuts have been made, we have to do a straight cut of 3 centimeters long. curved pieces have been made, we have to mark radial lines in order to cut its extremes. This square allows to mark the radial lines. This screw allows the square to be adjustable in order to make the radial lines in the trim of the curved pieces. In any place I put the square, it makes possible to do or to make a radial line. Finally, the diminished arch, 10 centimeters wide, which in its design has two radiuses, the larger one 8 centimeters, the shorter one 3 centimeters radius. Due to its size, in this arch it is possible to make a single central curved piece of 8 centimeters radius without taking into account the number of degrees it has. As I made some pieces of this radius, I am not going to make it in camera. The shorter radius, 3 centimeters, shapes 68 degrees at both sides of the central piece. I am going to make a piece of 20 degrees curved and 3 centimeters straight, and only one curved piece of 48 degrees to complete this arch. Three centimeters radius. Degrees curved and 2.5 centimeters straight. Once the curved pieces have been made, it is necessary them to achieve the size each one must have, with radial cuts at both extremes. This is the guide I use to achieve this objective. These two pieces have the correct size. All of these pieces have the correct size, and with them I am going to form the round arch. This is the guide I have named the cross. It allows the curved pieces to be cut in order to attain in them radial mortise and tenon. Its lateral walls are limit for the lateral cuts, and in the bottom another wall limits the cut's length. The first cuts I am going to achieve are the ones of the mortise of the round arch at both extremes of the central piece, which have 60 degrees. a very small adjust, we can make the radial cuts of the tenon. The final radial cuts for the radial tenon are made with this guide. One left and the other right. This tenon is finished. Right now I want to show the pieces made in order to give shape to a round arch 16 centimeters diameter, a diminished arch 10 centimeters wide, a circle 6 centimeters diameter, and a smaller circle. And here the figures all finished. Let me show right now many other bigger figures that I have made weeks and years before, not only working with the scroll saw, but also with the bigger bandsaw. For paying attention to this working demonstration. I am Carlos Alvarado Cordero, and these works were made in Ciudad Quesada, San Carlos, Costa Rica.